Welcome back to another video. I've got Dennis with me. I'm up here at the Initial Ascent HQ. We actually just shot a podcast, so watch for that to come out. They're starting a new podcast here pretty soon, so we had a really good conversation. I've been running their backpacks for a year now, actually almost exactly. And I know there's been a lot of questions on Instagram with my backpack, how I've liked it. And short answer, I've really enjoyed using this backpack. But what we're gonna do is show you what 280 days roughly in the field looks like. So a full year of hard use and putting this backpack through heck, and kind of show you how it's held up, talk about my experience, and then we're gonna actually get a new pack out and get me fitted with that and kind of educate and show you guys how a backpack should look, whether it's your first time getting into one of these nicer backpacks for Western hunting, or you've had one and you just want to upgrade this year. We're gonna kind of dive into all that. And so let's dive into this. This is my backpack I used this year. This is a 5K, so that's gonna expand all the way up to probably about right here, wouldn't you say? On a 5K has a lot of use. What I've found with the 5K for the things I do, it just fits. I do a lot of day hunts where I'm out all day in a lot of weather where maybe I have to pack a few jackets, a lot of food, binoculars, camera gear. A 5K just fits me well, and I can also take that out on, say, a 5-day hunt too. So my unprofessional way that I judge what size bag you need is kind of how many days you're gonna be out. So if you're gonna be out 3 days, I think a 3K would fit you perfect. If you're gonna be out 5 days, a 5K fits you perfect. If you're gonna push it out to 10 days, then maybe you wanna look at one of those 8K bags, and that's gonna fit all the gear you need properly.
So Martin, you said something that really piqued my interest there. You said 280 days in the field with this pack.
Yeah, I did 60 days in Arizona, 3 months in Utah, shed hunt. That's not counting shed hunting, scouting, all seasons. I've really had this backpack on me dang near every day of the year.
I mean, for the average guy, that's probably, I don't know, 15 years of hunting for the average guy.
Yeah, so a lot of guys get, that opening weekend and then maybe a couple other hunts throughout the year, and it's over.
Yeah, so I'm shocked at the way this backpack looks. I mean, it's pristine for 280 days out there. So talk about that.
I've had some great backpacks over the years, but at that amount of use and heavy loads that I put it through that often, you start to have things fail, whether it's on the frame, buckles, straps, or zippers. Like I've had a lot of zipper issues in the past.
Not with this one, right?
Not with these.
Okay.
Yeah, not with these. So no issues as far as any of that goes. Another spot that's been a failure on backpacks in the past has been right in here. I've had this part of kind of like, what's that?
The shoulder
back
harness.
Your shoulder harness or your back strap pads. They've worn out on me just from constant rubbing and abuse, and those are all intact. I mean, you could see right here, this little fray is all we've got. Whereas other backpacks, I've worn holes in those just from sitting down with them on rocks all the time.
On rocks, yep.
So pretty dang impressed with it.
Yeah, this stuff here, the stretch material, a lot of times, that's something to fail on a pack.
Yeah.
And this has held up really, really well.
One thing we could talk about maybe as not even a failure point, but a spot that kind of took me a minute to get figured out was on the lumbar pad.
Okay.
When I first had it on, it felt like it was kind of maybe sagging a little or just rubbing on my low back.
Okay.
And so address that with you guys. And what we did was we actually got me a different size belt.
Yep.
Short,
a smaller size.
We went a smaller size, and then we also sent new pads, foam pads out, which we can dive into. I actually changed up how I had the pads in there. So I put the stiff pad out, so it's the closest, and then the big thick foam pad closest to the frame. And I found that rides perfect for me. And since we made those two adjustments, so that's not even really a failure on the pack's end, that's just a fitting issue.
Yeah.
Once we got me fit perfectly, the whole season, I haven't had an issue.
So that's really cool to me. I mean, if you look at most of our packs, that it's going to be just the opposite there. And that's how we kind of designed it when Joe and I started on this lumbar pad, is we did that closed cell foam against the frame basically once you fold that up, and then that pillow top or the open cell foam against your back because it was cushion.
Yeah.
But you've done the opposite, and I think that's a really cool point because that's how versatile this is. Plus, I noticed you run yours way up high,
Yep.
like that.
I like it to, I know there's a lot of space here, and that's another good point is the airflow on the low back that this pack creates. So I like it to sit high, but still allow for that airflow and take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I have to say, I've never had anybody swap those two pads.
Yeah.
But not many people spend 280 days out there like you do.
Yeah. I'm a believer like that needs to be firm.
Okay.
So I just like that firm feeling.
Okay.
I've had issues in the past with backpacks kind of getting saggy or wearing out right there.
Yep.
And then when you start putting in a full day on the mountain with weight right there, it starts rubbing on you and compressing. And then that's when you get that hot spot where you just want to rip your backpack off. You can't even have it on you.
Right.
Maybe just shortening up this hip belt was all it needed.
A lot of times
and it
when
wouldn't matter either way.
Yep. A lot of times when you're dealing with rubbing issues, rubbing means friction,
Yeah.
right? And friction means it's not tight enough.
Yeah.
And so by going to that smaller size, that sounds like that did the trick for you, so
Yeah.
you could get it tight. Because you don't lose any weight when you get out there, do you? I mean, after a few
A little
days.
bit, yeah. I don't have a ton of weight to lose, but yeah, you definitely lose some size and water and whatnot when you're out there. So yeah, I think getting that proper fitment was huge. So that's kind of the overview and how the backpack's held up with time in the field. I kind of want to show you guys how I stack it and how I utilize some of the pockets and accessories on this backpack. So I'm a big believer in a lid. I mean, their lids are nice and good size. They fit over the whole width of the backpack. So I can actually fit a lot of gear in here. I usually throw a couple of these extra pockets in. What do you call these here?
Pack sacks.
The pack sacks. So I think having a couple pack sacks is a big deal. I'll put like water purification, maybe hunting tags or permits. I actually like running my hunting permit right here on this pocket that's under the lid.
Oh yeah, it's where
It's just a good safe spot where I feel like if it got wet out, you know, it's not getting wet from anything up top. Or if you open this pocket up, it's not going to accidentally fall out. I just never go into this pocket.
Yep. But your lid's always with you.
Your lid's always with you. Obviously, this backpack at the 5K can expand quite a bit. We'll show you there. It can get all the way up to there. So a lot of stuff space. On the side here, we've got a kind of a mesh pocket that has the expandable pocket. You could just stuff anything in there. If I'm going on big trips, I'll put water bladders. Sorry, not water bladders, but water bottles in there. I got my trekking poles in here right now just for show, but I actually like running my spotting scope. So I have a 95 spotter. I like putting that in this side pouch here. And then it isn't fully enclosed, but with that right there, I can tighten it pretty dang flush to the main part of the bag. Over on this side of the bag, I've got my tripod now. I could see this being a good spot to put the butt of a gun. Maybe you can talk about how you utilize it too, but I like running my tripod. I'm mostly bow hunting or scouting, shed hunting. And so this has kind of been my tripod pocket. It's easy to pop it off. I could just undo this clip here, pull it right out.
So that's typically what I do as well. I will run my rifle over there if I'm rifle hunting and packing in or packing out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm typically, I think the only difference from your setup is a lot of times if my bag's really full, I'll just run a couple legs in there or something.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I won't buckle this one.
Yeah.
It'll be behind it. It seems like we're always needing to get to our tripod fairly quickly, right?
Yeah, that's why I like these two pouches for tripod scope, because usually when I see an animal, I just want to rip my scope and tripod out, get it on them immediately. So that's why I like running them kind of external, but just on the sides. So then you have your horseshoe. Is that what you call this style of?
We've called it a horseshoe. We've called it a beaver tail.
Beaver tail.
There's other things that we've called it as well.
That's gonna fully open up and give you access to the main part of your bag. And I use this a lot, actually. I really don't ever open up the top part of my bag. Yeah. So if you want to be on this side, you know, you can bring both zippers around to one side or the other and access that bag. So really nice, easy to use zippers. You can see there after a full year, they still work great. Then you got a little mini one on the outside here, and that's
You run in there.
well, let's see. I don't know. We got some tuna packs right now, so usually it's and some wrappers. Don't mean to make a mess, but usually it's my food.
Okay.
Just because it's on the outside,
You can get to it really
I can
quickly.
get to it. I like to hide a granola bar or some kind of food that will last a long time, like in a few spots on my backpack. So in the lid, a couple in here, a couple in the bottom of the bag, just because sometimes I get the munchies and I'll eat all my food at once. It's good to have a couple like safety reserves
When you
floating
really
around
need it.
when you really need it.
Yep.
Because I've been there before where I've eaten everything and then it's all gone.
Yep.
So like I like to have like a little pleasant surprise hiding somewhere.
That's a good trick, man. I'm gonna use that one.
Maybe my favorite part of the backpack, and that's the meat hauler system and
Pannier load carrier.
the panniard load carrier, and a few of the ways you can use it, not just for hauling an animal out, but even day hunting and for some of those lighter days. Okay, so we swapped over. We got a new backpack here. Before we get it fitted, I like I said, I want to talk about my favorite features of the backpack, and that's kind of outside of the bag, but more with the frame, the loading capabilities, the hauling capabilities, and kind of how you do that. So I'm going to hand it over to Dennis. He's going to break it down, and we're going to get into that pannier.
Okay, so first thing I'll do is I'll just show them how to take the bag off real quick. And to take the bag off, what we do is we pop these load lifters out just really quickly. And you can see this bag has a piece of webbing right here over those ears. And what I like to do is you've got 4 pointers, okay? And they all have orange bar tacks, if you notice. So it's really simple. When you get out there in the heat of the moment, you're packing things up, orange goes to orange. And then it simply
Slides right out.
just slides right out. Mine never leaves my frame. It's just too handy. So
Right.
not only is it good for carrying, meat and everything in there against the frame, but you can also run it with the lid. And now you've got what we call day mode.
Yep.
So you've essentially got a really, really light, fast pack. You've got a big pocket right here. You've got your lid, and you've got the ability to haul out your meat immediately.
So yeah, this is something I'm going to utilize a lot, especially with scouting. Last year I did this a few times scouting, where it's like I just need my tripod, my spotting scope, and then a few things, maybe the cub, like you guys have, which I've picked up now, and I can attach that and have plenty for a scouting mission, a day hunt, and then if for whatever reason I need to backpack or I need to grab gear, it's easy to throw the bag back on. But I think a lot of people could use this for most of their hunting styles.
I think so, especially if you're
kind
hunting
of
off a
overlooked.
base camp or a truck,
Yeah.
or off a 4-wheeler.
Right.
This is really, really good to do that, and simply.
Yeah, and then if you kill something, you've got your frame and you're good to go, and you can just start packing it right out.
Speaking of packing out, let me show you how we typically put a quarter in here. Okay, you've got 3 buckles on either side, and then you've got 2 that are vertical support that hold that pannier up. So you just essentially lay it out, and then let's grab that sandbag right there, and then we can just put it on there just like you would a quarter of boned out meat. You just simply lay that over there. So one of the things that this pannier does really, really well is it allows you to keep that meat up high and tight where it belongs. If you let any type of weight, heavy weight especially, get below the top of that hip belt, it changes the entire physics of the whole load. It starts to, instead of pushing through your iliac crest down into your quads, starts to push through your sacral region, so you get that lower back, your tailbone region, and it actually misses your hip structure, and that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you have a bad back or not, you're gonna have one if you do that too much.
And that's a big thing too. We talked about it a little bit, I think, on the podcast we shot before this. This isn't just for the moment and creating a better experience on the pack out. This is for your future health too. You get a good backpack, and you're doing, you know, a handful of pack outs a year, or even one could mess you up for life if you don't have the right setup. So investing in a nice backpack is investing in your health and your longevity on the mountain. Having it fit right and having your body be able to flow and work properly, and you're not compensating turning, or like your hip belt is rubbing on you, so you're like walking kind of weird or putting more weight on your shoulders. Like, if you can get buttoned down, and we should throw that 150 pounds on my back to kind of show them,
Sure.
it just your body's in a natural state, and you can just kind of get to trekking.
You always want to kind of start with this thing a little bit loose.
Okay.
There you go. And the first thing that I always like to do is I always like to make sure that this hip belt gets in the right spot. And for me, a great place to start is the points of your hips need to be right in the middle of this pad for the most part. That's kind of where I tell people to start, and then they can venture up or down, you know, however they feel. You kind of know what you're doing here. Yep, you get that hip belt tight, and then you snug those shoulder straps down. You already got your sternum strap tightened up there.
Yep, not too tight.
Not too tight.
You don't want it like that.
Yeah.
And pulling in. You just want to have like some like light tension, right?
That's perfect. Yeah, I just like to form a straight line
right in
across there. Keeps it in the pockets of your shoulders right there, and it keeps it off the points of your shoulders.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're right there in a nice spot, and then the last thing you did, you grab those load lifters, and you just tightened it a little bit until you felt that load.
Yeah, you don't want to like max them out either and start rounding anything. Just, I kind of think like right there feels perfect.
Yeah,
now.
so what that does is that allows me, I can get a couple of fingers under there pretty comfortably. That tells me that the weight is off the tops of your shoulders and it's mostly in your hips there.
Right.
We kind of have that 80-20 rule as a good place to start. And when you have this load lifter 30 to 45 degrees, as far as that angle right there, that tells us it's doing its job right there.
Okay, so got 50 pounds already on the backpack. We're going to throw the other 100 pounds on, and you guys can see what that looks like. Let me turn this way. That's probably the best for now, huh?
Just a little bit. We just put them right there on that hook that was made for that rifle sling.
Yep. Right now, I don't feel anything like pulling me one way or the other, really. Some of my crazy shed hunts that I did last year were 150 pounds. Some of my buddies, or maybe in the video, I don't know if it shows it, but I'm leaned over like this, carrying 150 pounds.
I remember seeing that.
Like,
yeah.
you just feel like that's how it has to be done. But then you put this on with the same weight, and granted, it's not as awkward and long, but still, like, I feel no reason to like bend over and hike like this. It doesn't really feel like 150 pounds.
And it's so close to your center of mass.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like that.
Pretty impressive. I feel like this is a good test right here to really show off the backpack. And then obviously you said that you could throw quarters on. That's kind of what this is simulating here, but you can throw quarters on if you wanted to pack out an animal just on the outside on those hooks right there. So another pretty badass feature, if you ask me. So
Unconventional, but it flat works.
right.
Yep.
So that's a look at the pack, guys. I would strongly suggest going to the description box. There's a link there. Check out Initial Ascent. If you have a backpack and you're looking to upgrade, or if you're looking to come out west, you've never hunted out here before and you need a backpack, make sure you check the description box again. That's where all the links are. You can find to the gear I use, but definitely check out Initial Ascent. I probably am going to be giving one away here pretty soon too, so look forward to that if I could talk them into it.
I think so.
I think that would be pretty cool to go into the summer, so watch for that. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll catch you on the next video.